Cleaning your grout is like painting the walls. You have no idea what a difference it'll make until it's done, and it's such a transformation. In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how I cleaned and refreshed the grout and made the tile look so much better. The very first thing you want to do is get the floors clean. I started by vacuuming. I'm over at my neighbor's on this day, and I vacuumed her floor and then I mopped it really well. I pulled out my Zep tile brightener and cleaner and I put it in all the cracks and let it sit for a second, and then I started to scrub. But I made such an unfortunate mistake because I couldn't find my grout brush and I was using a toothbrush. Although the Zep really does pull out a lot of the dirt, it looks in videos like it is actually coming out, but there's still quite a bit of scrubbing to do. It has kind of like a hydrogen peroxide effect where as soon as you put it down, it just bubbles up and makes like white bubbles. So it looks, if you're watching other people's cleaning videos, it looks kind of miraculous, like, oh wow, it's doing all the work. And I guess that's true if your grout is like pretty clean already. But as you can see, it wasn't. And what I needed to do was scrub. So I ended up going to Lowe's and I just got one of those grout brushes. Man, that made a huge difference in my life. The amount of scrubbing that I had to do went down significantly, and then I just kind of plowed through it. So that is how I did that. Then once I had gotten all of the grout scrubbed, I filled up my mop bucket with very hot water, a little bit of bleach, and a tiny bit of dish soap. And I just went through and mopped up all of the dirt. Once all of that was cleaned up, I realized that I was seeing some kind of dark marks on the floor. I couldn't really see when I first came into the kitchen. It just was kind of blending in. But as I was working closer to the floor, I was seeing these darker marks. And I ran to my house and I got some Zep foaming wall cleaner because I don't know, it works really well on walls. And then I tried this scrubbing attachment for my drill. It worked really well. It was pretty powerful. When I just tried to just wipe off the black dirt, it did not come off. And I also tried Dawn Power Wash to get it off. That did not work. So the Zep wall cleaner is where it's at. Honestly, that worked so well. And then I had this little knee pad that I got off of Amazon. I worked section by section. I have used a lot of different things to recolor grout because it just gets faded and discolored through time. And this so far has been my very favorite product. It's called Maypay and it was in the color Biscuit. It is both a grout color and sealer. So I tried the directions that were on the back. There are two different options for how to lay this down. And both of them seemed, well, they were time intensive. So I decided to try my own way where I just put down the grout sealer and then I wiped up the sides. And you can see that I'm using my finger. I really should have had gloves, but I was just using my finger to really scooch the color into the grout because you know how grout has kind of little tiny holes. So I was using my finger to really make it even and get it perfectly in all of those little gaps. This was a very time intensive task. I did not do it all in one time at all. I think that I came back 4 different times to her house to work on this, and I would just do a little bit at a time. It does dry very quickly, so that's great. I tried different ways to save my back because I do have back problems, but I used like a stool to sit on and just sat flat on the floor. The thing that worked the best was this pad. It's pretty thick and it just really helped me. It's not a very comfortable process, but that was the thing that made it feel the best in my opinion. The tips that I picked up that were the most helpful to me are definitely get a brush that is devoted to grout when you are cleaning out your grout. Definitely make sure that you mop your floors well ahead of time before you start applying any kind of grout color or refresh, because it will make it easier for you to spread it. And don't be afraid to take on this process in sections because it does really take a lot out of you physically and you don't want to wear yourself out. So those are definitely my pointers. You saw all the products that I used up on the screen, but I'll also put links to them in my description in case you want to take a closer look at it or maybe order them online. I really say it looks great. It holds up really well. I've used the same Mapei stuff in my home, and I love the transformation. I think it looks so much more refreshed. Thank you so much for being here, and if you take this project on, I hope it turns out beautifully. If you have questions, leave them for me in the comments.
Yesterday, there was sun and there was rain.